Welcome to Thursday Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jessia, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Almas, Rotas. We are live on location with my co-host, Sam Anderson, and co-owner, Shad, Kvetko. We have a lot of information to talk about, plus we may have guests stop by, and they can ask some questions, too. We are obviously going to talk about Almas, Rotas a lot, how it all began, and how it is that Shad is now here in this position and his journey to get there. We have a tasting plan, which is going to be so much fun. All types of agave spirits from all around Mexico. And we have a couple of current events that we want to talk about that is actually affecting the production and the quality and or some of the certifications that are happening in the industry. So, cheers. And let's get started. Okay.
You talking about what's happened with the matchmaker in the news? Or
Yep.
What's happened there? So
part of it, yeah. You want to start there?
They got the hammer.
Yeah, unbelievable. Huh?
Yeah. So the chisme, right, is that the CRT tipped off the cops that busted them for doing something that wasn't illegal, which is distilling beer.
They picked up like barrels and bottles and liquids and equipment and all kinds of stuff that didn't make sense.
We're big about Altamar. We're big supporters of
Yeah. Well, we wish them the best. I don't know how that's all going to shake down, but to me, it's just kind of like a warning. Or I heard they got a good warning now. It's kind of like, okay, we're going to take care of the cross. I can't say for sure.
So you think the CRT will make sure that that you can, I guess, transparency and labeling and what's in the product, or what happens next?
Well, CRT is not known for any transparency, right, at all. But they came up with the whole certified additive-free program, and I think that's been a major thorn in the side of some of the big producers down there. And I think that I shouldn't even say I think. What I've heard is that they were tipped off. They tipped off the authorities to get rid of this, right?
Stamp than it was just the additive discussion, because they had this whole additive free program or certification, and then they wanted to put a stamp on it.
Right. So they have their own sort of certified additive free through their organizations, and it's not the sticker that comes is not through the CRT. What I've understood is that the CRT wants to have their own certified additive free, but no one's going to believe it anyway. It's a CRT. Real talk.
Talk a little bit about the history of that and kind of what we talked on the phone about some of these older, when it comes to the certifications of tequila and getting it to the CRT, and how they don't believe in it as much anymore, and to get the technical certification of a tequila or whatnot, and they're just sort of labeling it something different, right? So it's Don Julio, the originator family, they're kind of doing something like that now. You mentioned, or Herradura, sorry, excuse me.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
Yeah, not Don Julio, but we had talked about the Caballito Serrano, right? Which the family's all lawyers that produce that spirit, and they were actually involved in the creation of the normas that fell under the denomination of origin. I should say that tequila was the first denomination of origin outside of Europe. It's a massive denomination of origin. Unlike the European ones, which are created more to protect tradition of production, so they're really narrow, the tequila dio and everyone following it has been more to protect profits to produce it. So they allow for more industrialized production, right? Which you're not going to introduce into like Armagnac or Cognac or something like that. Like those are highly regulated traditional processes to make those spirits. Unfortunately, the Mexican version, the denomination of origin, is more to protect like massive producers.
Right. Well, that's where their taxes come from, right? That's the majority of their money.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that, and one of them is because all of the tequila producing families like buy into the CRT, right?
Okay.
And the more money you put in, basically the more say you have in the way things happen. Right?
School.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Yeah, right. No, it's literally not an objective.
There's
Even the small producers that I know you're going to share some of these with us today, but they can't put the money in. How do they get the visibility or the opportunity?
Well, they either got to deal with it, or they have to go their own route. So this is, what we were discussing about the uncertified agave spirits, the Destilado de Agaves, and in tequila so far it's been Caballito Cerrero, right? Because they've been giving the finger to the CRT for years anyway. They're the ones that like took the name tequila off their bottle.
We should bring that over.
Yeah, and we should drink that actually.
Yeah, I'm getting thirsty.
Yeah, yeah. So I was just at their distillery actually, and the new distillery, like 1870. The early distillery next to them, they date production back to at least 16. So it's the oldest known site, of distillation in Mexico. Thank you, sir. And they're, a highly respected brand, but the family that created the brand was actually part of the family that's created the Herradura brand. And they had this split years ago, merchandise, that, those two families split, and the whole name Caballito Cerrero, which is basically, like a horse of the mountain or wild horse, is kind of a FU to Herradura, right? Because they say a wild horse needs no horseshoes, and Herradura means horseshoe, obviously. And so, I love their attitude.
Where's the agave picked? Is this in the valley, in the hills? Where's the agave come from?
In the valley. So this is right outside of Amatitan, which is actually the birthplace of tequila production. We call it tequila because everybody would bring their products to the town of Tequila. That's where the railroad was. So, they would always, originally was called, Vino Mezcal de Tequila. And Vino. So, yeah. So originally they would call it vino, right? And in certain parts of Mexico, they still call it vino de mezcal. Yeah. And, it was part of the Spanish. They didn't differentiate like a fermented beverage like wine and the distilled beverage. Also, originally, the indigenous people produced basically a agave wine, vino de mezcal. Like mezcal was a colloquial term for the agave plant, like all agave plants. So vino de mezcal was basically a roasted agave, right? That they would squeeze the juice from and then just ferment that. So it was more like. And then when distillation technology came through Mexico with their conquest, the name stuck. Outside of Oaxaca, where they call distilleries palenques, they'll call them either tabernas or inatas. So inata refers back to that whole like a wine.
Well, tequila is like wine to me because like we were tasting. Which one was it? This one here. This product here.
So that's a mezcal. That's Rey Campero Espadín. That's our family here at Los Angeles.
Okay. I gotcha. But there's the taste of different tequilas is it's totally different. I used to think you would just tequila tastes like tequila, but that's not the case. Depends where the agave comes from.
Yeah.
How it's made.
Yeah, the processes each step and
well, we call the hand of the maker.
Yeah, it's a process like wine, but then the distiller and they add in like all their little, quirks or whatever you want to call it, their specialty that they make it. But then terroir too plays into it.
I think the biggest difference in tequila is they only use one species of agave, which is part of the origin, is that it's either bias, right, or Los Altos, right? And sometimes bias producers will use agaves from Los Altos, but like those agaves are in the ground for 7 years on the low end, 6 years, unless you're talking about a terrible producer using a diffuser, which they can harvest way earlier than that. So they do have a taste of their microclimates that they're, but compared to mezcal, which is made from many, 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 many different species of agave, the range of flavor profile.
Well, should we try another tequila?
Yeah. Well, so we didn't try a tequila, right? So this was actually a Destilado de Agave.
Okay.
It doesn't say tequila on the bottle here. And this is actually made from Agave Chato, which is an Angusta full.
Oh.
So originally, tequila could be produced from several different types of agave. It wasn't until the Normas in 1974 that they made it only to tequila.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an agave spirit.
Exactly.
Interesting.
But if you want to do another tequila, we have Lagrimas over there.
Yeah. Tell us about
Spectacular.
tell us about that spectacular brand.
Which one do you want?
Let's do the Blanco in Repo too. But yeah, so this is produced at GOM 1123, known as Cascawin. Good friend Chava Rosales and his father are the producers. And they produce some spectacular tequila.
Didn't we pour that up for you? I think that one. I'm going to film on pouring it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is just new on the market here in Texas. We've been anxiously awaiting it from Baltimore Brands. And yeah, you know, it's funny because I always say I don't need any tequila. Like, Blue Weber is way overrepresented. Hey, Chava comes out, he's like, oh, we got a new brand. And it's like, I know we're going to have this in the
I think around $64.99.
Blanco?
Yeah.
And that's for consumer, obviously, right? So, and then can you talk about the brand and like a little bit about how it's made and what's its differentiator?
So the differentiators, Altamar actually, if you're familiar with Ocho tequila, we actually were the people that actually developed that in the U.S. and we actually sold the rights to that to Heaven Hill.
And
Ocho is a single vineyard in the Highlands.
Maybe Carlos Camarena, like one of the other great producing families to do it.
Right. So we live in harmony with them. So we actually picked the farm ranch. So if you look at the label, I don't know if Chevy can show them, but like that blue label there, that's El Sabino. So that's the actual ranch that we picked. We picked the entire ranch. It was into the single estate. The other thing is the bricks level. What do you think? What's to be a mature agave spirit? What's the normal bricks level?
Hey, what's he mean?
20 to 20.
I think 25 would be a high, 25 and up would be a good bricks.
Yeah.
Bricks is like a measurement of sugars
Right.
that are in the agave.
So 25%?
Yeah, but that's 40. It's 40 bricks.
So it's higher sugar.
Higher sugar. Oh yeah. So
almost double.
And the proof is 40. The ABV is 47% because of the sugar level. You're not getting the alcohol back taste in it at all. Lagrimas means the tears means it comes from the valley, but we're developing it. We're brand incubators. We believe that this actually is a very good tequila because it's non-distilled. It's not diffused. It's no additives in the product, and we're probably sure that it's not 1123 as well.
Yeah,
with our clients.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with diffuser technology and distillation?
No.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I've been. Hello.
So you probably get a little bit of minerality in it, a little bit of clay, Get a little bit of clay.
It's not vanilla, but it's like a kind of a fuller.
I think it's bold. I think it's peppery. This definitely tastes like a biased.
Yeah.
Are these Los Altos agaves or bias?
Los Altos.
Okay.
This took me through a whole
forget about what I said.
There's a lot going on in here.
Yeah,
so
that's the beauty of agave.
It hits your mouth, and it's one thing, and then I feel like it just kind of went like this and hit all these different flavor profiles, and at the end you just want more because like your mouth is watering, but it's got it really was because you're going through different flavors as it's passing through, and then at the end, I'm still feeling the flavor of it now.
Yeah,
it's got an amazing linger, and how it you can still taste all the different elements of what's in here.
And here's the thing: every spirit we're going to drink today is a Joven or a Blanco. So you're literally tasting the agave itself, and So right behind it. So
Yeah.
the only one is the reposado here. So that's going to be informed by barrel.
Yeah.
And wood. So you're going to get more of that barrel flavor through there.
Yeah, we laid down and aged it for 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Yeah.
This is lovely.
I prefer blancos.
I think you get the true essence of the you know,
With the spirit.
the
Yeah.
spirit of the terroir and everything.
Well,
It's got influence.
Tequila's a lot like wine. You were talking about how it originally started in Mexico as more wine, right? But tequila, we talk about it like as if it's wine.
Well, wine drinkers were some of the earlier of the coffee spirits. And the reason is because any other distilled spirit is more about consistency, right? Like every bottle of whatever it is, gin, whiskey, vodka is, the whole point of the process of distillation is for consistency. So every single bottle tastes like every other single bottle they're producing. This is a batch. This is going to change depending on the agaves themselves, the season that they're produced. So there's a lot of different factors in there that are actually going to change the flavor. Well, spirits people didn't get that. It was really wine drinkers that embraced
Well, our
inconsistency of flavor.
Well, our adoration for this was an El Chiquino, and El Chiquino doesn't taste anything like El Sabino. Whatever the next ranch that we pick,
right,
tastes like the next ranch. So you'll never see that expression again. And you were talking about an agave. It takes what average 7 years to grow.
On the low end, yeah.
On the low end, so more likely
for maturity. Yeah.
For we don't own the ranches that we pick. We give them a high price for that pick, and then they may rotate that.
If you're doing 40 bricks, I'll bet you're. That's a high sugar content. Sure.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it. And like I said, the Rosales family, Chava, and father have been so great and so welcoming, and so transparent. I mean, they were with the Beats Photo, is like he's an evangelist for tequila, for well-made tequila, and he's, a friend and a mentor. And he's really been the guy that's, I think at the forefront of talking about these issue production stuff. So, there's great tequilas out there, but there's more garbage.
Right, and I guess when we were talking earlier about the certifications and whatnot and the additives that they're able to put in, if a tequila or mezcal or whatever agave spirit is trying to export that, is it safe? If they're not going to be considered a tequila or considered this or considered that, I mean, I guess does the FDA protect their American consumer from getting something that isn't quite right or not safe? Or
so that's a perfect argument that the CRT or the CRM will take.
Right.
Like, what do you actually drink? Like, there's no guarantee that you're drinking even 100% agave if they say it.
Right.
But luckily, in this day and age, where we have technology and we have, trusted people and with, transparency in their production, like I can go visit all of these Palenques or Vinatas or Tabernas and I can see their production. I've done it in the past. I mean, I go down there all the time. It's actually got some bottles kicked off our back bar. But like, I'm curious really about what they're actually doing, not what they're selling.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all the brands are saying kind of the same thing right now. It's all the greenwashing thing, stuff like that. But who's actually putting their money besides their mouth?
Right.
And
I think that's also something these new generations care about. They care about the storytelling and they care about where it's from. They care about the production. They care about the ingredients. So I think that's the whole additive thing is a positive thing for the generations to come.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing about the additive thing. I mean, there's several different additives that they can do up to 1%. You can still call it 100% agave spirit. These can be, what they call jarabes, which are like sweetened syrups, they could be coloring, right? So like caramel coloring for reposados or añejos to darken them. They could be like glycerin for a mouthfeel and stuff like that. And, it can be argued that none of those will do you any harm. But, to a lot of people, it's really about the transparency about what you're putting in there. And for me, it's like, what are you covering?
Right.
And usually when you have all of those additives in there, you're covering a poor distillation technique, you know?
Right.
I think the consumer wants transparency and what's in
Right.
the bottle.
Even on the line side.
Absolutely.
We don't know what they're putting here. Sulfites and whatever
Yeah.
color. I mean,
Well, and that's the rise of the natural wines and the biodynamic wines that's happening. I mean, I think the whole thing is kind of a holistic thing with the whole slow food, you know, popularity and stuff like that. Like people are concerned about what they're putting in their bodies, you know. But I will say this, and this is a really important point, is that just because something is even certified additive free does not make it quality spirit. They could still use very poor production processes and technically not put any additives in there. Right. So it's, you know, you can't just say, oh, well, that's in the additive free program. It's great. Because that's not the case.
That is a good point. Doesn't make it great because it's additive free or not.
Yeah.
some brand names that were at least associated with the brand names like the Herradura, and now they're creating their own, going against the CRT. For example, how does a consumer know, one, that it's safe if it's not called tequila or if it's just an agave spirit?
Well, you know, at that point, it's about trust. So, like, that's what we're here. Like, again, I go visit these down there, and I also have very trusted friends that are random that are sourcing these spirits. So, you know, it is an element of trust in that. But luckily, there's a lot of technology available, and you know, you can travel down there and meet these people too and see exactly what they're doing. Whereas, you know, if you look at tequilas and you know, that are certified tequilas, say tequila right now, not talk about mezcal, they can actually source the juice from other distilleries and bottle it on their distillery and put their nom on it. Right. So that's how a lot of these brands actually hide the fact that they're diffuser produced spirits is because they're sourcing it from, you know, you could go to their distillery and they're like, look, we don't have a diffuser. It's hard to hide a diffuser. They're about the size of a train car. They're these giant pieces of equipment. Well, they blast it with superheated water, and it's really about separating the agave fibers from the fiber. I'm sorry, the agave, like it's separating the fibers from the fermentable.
And they're dropping chemicals in it too.
Well, so it's acid hydrolysis, right? So it's super efficient. It's great at extracting these sugars from the agave, but what comes out is a very insipid spirit.
I call it grain neutral spirit. That's why the additives in there.
Like it doesn't taste like tequila.
It tastes like vodka.
Yeah.
So it's why would one do that? What's the
because of the
money?
Cheaper.
Money and efficiency. Oh, tequila's always been focused on efficiency. Like this goes back to the Porfiriato and the industrial. You know, like salsa was first introduced. You know, steam cooking. Right before that, it was all cooked like mezcal in an earthen ornament. But you know, the interesting thing to me is really the cultural relationship between the two spirits and different parts of Mexico. Because tequila was always kind of outward looking. You know, they were looking at whiskey production traditions in the United States and Europe. They were always more about efficiency and production than they were quality. Now, the stuff that they were producing back then was amazing. Yeah. Like we would have all thought that was amazing. But when you follow that arc, up until today, right? Yeah, because you know you start with cooking in the ground, right? With wood, like direct fire cooking. Then you go to steam cooking. Then you go to autoclave, right? Like a high pressure autoclave, and then you go to a diffuser, right? So each one is way more efficient. But let me ask you something. Like, have you ever had a delicious smoked brisket?
Oh yeah,
that's been smoked for like 18 hours. Whatever. Try cooking that in the microwave.
Now there's a brisket story. Talking about brisket, by the way. There was Jesse was telling me something about brisket or something. You did something with brisket in Mexico.
Yeah. We had our own project. We with Gracias a Dios mezcal.
Okay.
We actually smuggled smoked brisket down into Mexico.
So
You might want to drink some more mezcal, right? Or do we want to do the reposado? Let's do the reposado. Yeah, please. This is. Can I get political a little bit? Go ahead, so this was right after Trump was elected, the first time, and we wanted to do this project with which was the company that was mezcal at the time, Rotas, and we wanted to create mezcal de Pachuga, or we're going to call it Destilado Con. And so we had our friend or smoke brisket, and I smuggled it down there and brought a couple of our employees at the time. We went to Tlacalula and we sourced all of the botanicals that were going to be in the distillate. And then we distilled it a third time with that brisket hanging in the still. And then we ate the brisket too. So it's kind of cool to see like the Zapoteca ladies eating a smoked brisket for the first time because it was actually really delicious.
In copper stoves.
Yeah, this is copper delicious. So, the brisket specifically is such a fatty piece of meat. Like, you're not going to taste the flavor of brisket. You're going to taste an umami from it. Now, I've had many different destilado kinds of pachugas that are made from rattlesnakes, from iguanas. So traditionally it'd be chicken or turkey. I mean, pachuga means breast, right? So they would hang a chicken or turkey breast in the still. Now it's not gonna taste like chicken. I mean, it's not gonna be like Kentucky Fried Chicken or shit like that. Like you're gonna taste the botanicals that actually go into the pulse that's in the still. So we went to Taco Bell, like I said, we got
smoked the brisket and
yeah. Well, our friends smoked it here. Ours smoked it because we knew it would cook for 12 more.
The Rio Grande or something?
No, I flew it. Actually, in my suitcase. Yeah.
Were you nervous with your customs?
Actually, I didn't even realize it was illegal at the time. But I mean,
it's funny to get through because they did with the sense then.
Yeah, I mean, we just brought it down there.
I think it was Kyle. I had an apple in my back. Yeah. And I'm walking through the airport before we barely get out of customs, and I have a dog on my back.
Really?
And I'm like, and then, it's the enforcement. Yeah.
Not about apples?
And yeah, because you're not supposed to have any kind of vegetation or, fruits or anything like that when you travel to different countries. And I forgot about it. I would have eaten it on the plane if I hadn't forgot about it. But I forgot about it, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't smoke pot. I drink.
11 o'clock news, Jesse Ott, that we arrested her for an apple trying to smuggle it into Mexico.
Apple a day. Get your shit taken away.
It's not like you're bringing any kind of...
The only thing I would have done differently would have been split up between three. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, because if one of us got caught with it, we're going down there to produce it. And Oscar Hernandez is the Agave, one of the brand members, but Oscar's also invested in the brand, which is highly important to us, and they're just great guys. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. Bring it down, we'll make it, And
now, is that being made now? Where is it?
No, there was only 80 liters made.
Oh. Do you have anything like that here? Do you have anything like that here that you serve?
No, I heard that another brand has done it for Too Good to Brisket, but I haven't tried it yet. Ours turned out great. I think if I had one complaint, I would have done it at a higher ABV. That's because entering super high ABV. I did have the puntas from it, which were like 72 ABV. Which I thought was awesome.
72?
Yeah.
So,
that was delicious.
I saw in this Dallas Observer article also regarding this, was that you asked Mohan Barbecue to actually provide...
Sure. Mohan Barbecue?
Yeah, there's a sticker right there. So Brandon Mohan was doing barbecue pop-ups. He was a good friend of ours. We're all familiar. We had him spoke the meat, and and then I brought down 2 employees, team members, and we produced the spirit. A lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. And how come you haven't done it since?
Well,
Well, if you're volunteering your suitcases and mine, 3 of us, we can get the brisket into Mexico, you're saying?
Can't we just get the brisket there?
Well, 3 of us, the odds are that it's going to show up.
well, it's a good point because, when you become super popular in the industry.
Okay, we don't mean it Mexico.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could smoke it down there, but get carne asada. It would be awesome. Well, it was a show of friendship between the people. It was taking something that's very Texas, like smoked brisket. Like, I don't know if you guys are into barbecue like I am. But like when you go to different regions, there's different styles of barbecue. So I would say Central Texas barbecue is brisket, like brisket heavy and smoked with post oak, and we really wanted to do a show of friendship with something that was like very typically Texan and something very much Mexican, which was pachu. Yeah.
What'd you think about this?
Is that what we're drinking? I might have to reveal it.
Well, we got these.
So I think it's delicious. I don't typically drink these.
I guess it's fancy,
Stay fresh.
Stay fresh pours, and you get a hole where it's closed.
Look at that, how it pours.
I love it that it doesn't drop all over the floor.
The fruit flies, so when Jay's thinking about trying to chase those down, you don't use seal it off. It's done.
Yeah.
But so this is bourbon barrels.
You definitely get more of the soft vanilla, brown sugar.
Yeah, it's definitely informed by the wood, and what I like about this though is like you look at the coloring of that, you can tell there's no artificial color. It's like not super deep amber or anything. And I don't drink agave spirits, but like I don't think there's anything wrong. Again, if we can go back to barbecue, it's like not that barbecue sauces are bad. You should just be able to eat them by itself.
You did a Manhattan with that. Was it the Manhattan with the Rebel with me when I was here? A tequila Manhattan?
I don't remember anything. No, it would have been an old fashioned.
Oh, old fashioned?
Yeah.
Yes, it was old fashioned with the
that would make me old fashioned.
So he did that with the Repa. And then he dropped this like little flashing light in there. I don't know what the flashing light was.
I did not drop that. Like, I don't know where those fucking things even came from. Like, suddenly we have disco lights in our drinks. I blame James.
Are they frozen so they're like ice?
No. I think someone's going to swallow one of them. Choke. That's what's going to
He's scared of disco lights. You gotta tell the customer don't drink the light, but it's there for show.
Or put it in a straw, maybe.
I mean, if you don't eat the battery, like you're literally going to have that label. That's the world we live in, right?
Yeah, there's a disclaimer. You must sign this.
Yeah.
Also, with these other tequilas over here, what do we have? We got a whole lineup here.
We have no other tequilas over there.
Actually, refer to this agave spirits.
Well, yeah, one agave spirit over there. We have a sulfol and we have a charanda.
Why don't you talk about why you drink from the horn? Like, there's a significance to that, right?
Well, I got this from a good friend of mine, and this why I drink this specific one. We do sell our own brand of horns. If I could do a little bit of merchandising here, but which are made in Sinaloa, but it's a real northern Mexican thing. Like anywhere you have like cattle country, or anywhere you have, like Durango, Jalisco, like with a lot of the cattle culture there, like you're gonna have cornitos. Yeah, no, this is the one I got in Mexico. Yeah, the end was.
Oh, you were telling me also you don't have to clean them.
Well, I don't have to. My husband has been, had some amazing spirits in it.
Right, so probably does it collect the spirits in there over time?
Probably, yeah. It's going to be like, so let's talk about fermentation, right? Like anything you ferment with, most things you ferment with in agave spirits are porous, right? So they form their own microbiome, and they get this flavor stamp to that distillery, that's producing them. So it's like, yeah, I mean, fermentation is the big thing that nobody really talks about.
I'm gonna get you a wine today.
Hey, sweet.
Sounds like a promise. Okay, where were we at? No, we're at the map.
Okay, so we've had tequilas.
Let's go.
And so I don't know if
We had an agave spirit. We had a mezcal.
Do you know
tequila, right?
where these tequilas were from and
Yes.
numbers?
So all the tequilas we drank today were from Jalisco. So the tequila denomination of origin is the entire state of Jalisco, but it's also municipalities and the states that are bordering it, and it's also in Tamaulipas, which does not have a tradition of producing tequila. It just the guy was the son of a president of Mexico, and this is one of the things that make like Dios.
But within Jalisco, there's different areas of Jalisco.
So. Yeah. So you got your Bias region, yes. The Altos region. Those are the main producing regions. And so like the town of Tequila is in the Bias region, also the town of Matitan, and El Arenal, which is where drink is produced. It's a smaller little village on your way to Tequila, from Guadalajara. So, but the major differences are going to be like, and we're going to drink another agave spirit that can be skipped right? And it's one of my favorite like regional agave spirits. And hope you all enjoy this. So this is the green label.
Okay, and so Raicilla is
this is the next one, right?
Yeah.
It's a type of agave spirit.
Yeah.
And then, but isn't it also just from 16 areas specifically, or very few areas?
So it's it's from a few municipalities in both the coastal region of Jalisco and also the mountainous region. Right. So they use different distillation technologies, which is really interesting because like on the coastal region they use the beautiful like Filipino wood stills that are like hollowed out tree trunks, and then up in the mountainous region they actually do like copper lamps. Now, in any other part of Mexico, and I've been in, that if you go up into these remote mountainous regions, they're going to use more primitive technology for production. This is totally different.
Now, is that more the ancient style? I mean, that's what they used to do, kind of thing?
Well, yeah. So there's two main different styles of distillation in Mexico. There's a lot of different like variations on these stills, but you have your Filipino distillation. This is brought over by Filipino sailors on the Manila galleons shortly after conquest. Again, when we were drinking Caballito Solero, these would have been in the ancient distillery there. They would have used the Filipino stills. This is internal condensing stills, right? They actually capture the distillate inside the still. Whereas alembic distillation, they have, it's more familiar to us as like copper pot distillation. They actually have a serpentine that has external condensation. So that was brought over by the Spanish, and the Filipino distillation originated in China. They used to make, rice distillate from it, palm distillate from it. In fact, on the western coast of Mexico, you have what you call tuba, which is why they brought these stills over there in the first place. They were doing this palm sap distillate. And then the indigenous people adapted those to their local ingredients, which were agave. Now, there is some evidence, and it's really controversial, of distillation pre-conquest that come from Colima. So they got these ancient tombs in Colima, and they found what they thought were like bean pots originally, but they've since been proven to be able to produce an agave spirit. And even more compelling than that is that they unearthed these tiny little copitas, right? So if you drink any kind of fermented beverage, they're going to be in a giant vessel, right? Like pulque or whatever you're drinking, like they're in large vessels. To drink something tiny, it's going to be a distilled spirit. So I'm not saying that it happened. I'm just saying that there is compelling evidence that it may have happened. If it did, it would have been a really prestige product. It would have been for nobility and the priesthood. So not very much.
How many different agave spirits are there? Types? That's a tough question to answer.
Is it at this stage of the interview, my friend? Yeah. I mean, how many? Okay, so how many different denominations of origin, or how many different regional agave spirits?
Well, I mean, so what this is called an agave spirit, right?
This is a raicilla, although they're not really. This brand is not really buying into the idea of how long this is going to be technically raicilla. And that's another issue with the whole denomination of origin. Like, you come in and tell people, like, this is how you should produce it. And if they say no, this is how we've made it for hundreds of years. How do you argue?
And each family, and region, and area has their own recipe way of doing things
Yeah.
down there. So
Yeah, that's what's so fascinating.
right. So probably the answer you probably couldn't answer it because there's just thousands of ways that it's produced.
Yeah, if you take it like singly by like every producer that's doing it, you're gonna. I mean, it's as many as the producers that are making. You know, so like each different state, each different region, even in different village in a state, have their tradition and procedure.
That's so vegetable to me. Yours is this earlier one was more citrusy, but I don't know if it's the increased bricks that gives me kind of this softer. It's not vanilla, but it's a softer kind of mellow citrus. And then obviously you got the kiss of 3 months of the reposado, which just mellowed that out.
What would you pair that with?
Which one?
I have it right now.
This one?
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet, but just yeah.
Done like a tequila, an agave spirit.
I mean, kind of. We've had those events here, but like to me, it's all about the spirit. Like,
It's just completely different than speed. There's not
I'll
much.
listen to glass of their sisters.
You don't want me to drink all those and be on.
No, I
Last time I was here, I was on the deck for a while. The
We'll make some pie. No, but this is so vegetal to me. It's just there's not. I can't find like a lot of commonalities between these because that vegetal element to it is just so overpowering.
So aside from different distillation technologies, they also use different agaves depending on the region, right?
So there's no you can do whatever agave.
Well, no, you can't just because of the new DO they're trying to produce. But like, there's agave that are endemic to the region that they. But now they're trying to formalize that in denomination of origin, and that's become very controversial as well. With all these, regulations. I'm an anti-DO guy. I mean, I think that the best thing that DOs do is protect it as a distinct infection, right?
A layer or a different way of looking at it. Is there a non-DO way to honor the family or the terroir or where it's from? Not even so much what type of agave it
I
is.
think in a perfect world, the denomination of origin would take a consideration, right? So we take mezcal and the denomination of origin. By the way, this conversation is all for Nima Bob, who used to be my technical support when we did our virtual tasting during the shutdown. He would hate it when we get into this whole denomination of just specifically, denomination of origin. But like, here's the thing: the normas, the laws that and the regulations that govern that certification project all based production in, right? So if you're from Puebla, Durango, Michoacan, like whatever you're from, like there's differences in production that may differ from that. And the thing of it is, it's like ancestral or what they call traditional agave spirits. They'll have higher methanol than that's allowed for in the normas. So they're automatically just excluded. Also, it's a huge cost. Well, but here's the thing: like you don't want as much ethanol to blind you, but like this is way below safety, right? It's just a matter of the proceeds. So, like kind of shit. Sorry, no, I just like slid into that.
They were telling me that the normal proof is much, much, much less for their raicilla. So is that a normal thing for raicillas to be less proof? Because they basically had to up it to export it into the United States. I can't remember what they said on the interview. Was a year old.
Produced raicilla under 40. Like, I just can't imagine it's much fun. Like every delicious Brescia, and I'm not speaking specifically to theirs, but like, is at a high rate. What's the ABV on that one?
I mean, it could vary by village and tradition.
47.4.
Yeah, 47.4 ABV. It's kind of a sweet point, right? By 47 to like 51.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it traditionally. That's not saying that people aren't making it that at this point. Like 40 ABV is just too soft.
Do you? So we were talking earlier before we started filming that you just drink these neat. You don't do anything with that. You. So
Well, we make cocktails here at the bar, but I drink them neat because I'm a neat spirit drinker. I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with making cocktails from these spirits. I mean, a lot of heroes will be like, eh. But honestly, I've been with some very traditional producers who will pour some shit into like Sprite, or like, something like that and just drink that as a cologne, like, and I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. And that, it's kind of our way of making this more precious. I'm like, cocktails are fun, and you might as well use a great. Like that was super important to the syrup on this. Our cocktail program, mezcal and tequila, are both family, right? That was super, right? Instead of going with one of these like large conglomerate, international conglomerate owned brands that are giving you all the money for placement, like we wanted to make sure that like these were producers because I can have all the high dollar bottles on my back bar that I want to have, where most of my money is going to go is to the cocktails.
I think I was here on a Thursday night and I saw the street teams coming in to talk to you guys. So everybody in the industry was coming into your facility.
Yeah,
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was super important to us.
You support family and
produce their own brand.
Produce your own brand, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. You know about them too, which is you talk to your customers about like.
Sure. One of our major conversations. It's like we can make sure that more money is going into those people in the community by having these, producers.
Was that one of your whys? The reason you have that is to actually help the local community.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's all about the community. It's all about the people. This whole place is I always say it's a love letter.
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah. So the other mezcal we drank was Break and Barrel. This one is from the Biel region, and it's made with a different species. So that's Angustifolia, known as Espadine. This one is made from a Garwinski, which is known, this particular subspecies known as Madre Cliché, because they used to plant it around their crops as kind of a natural barrier predator. And so it's the Madre. There's several different subspecies of Madre Garwinski that are used.
So this is called an agave spirit.
That's a mezcal.
That's a mezcal.
Yeah, I think there's three.
I'm not sure.
Well, I don't see mezcal. They might not be different, but
That's right.
But it's a mezcal.
Well, like taste this in comparison with the negative.
Was that the first one we had? Like pre-film?
Yeah, when we were getting prepared for our video.
We had some technical difficulties.
That's about the fun
thing. Oh, we're getting drunk.
That's the fun thing about happy hour, though. This is a happy hour, so we're
really happy.
Have fun.
I'm getting happy. So Karwinskis, they're endemic to this region. They don't have a high sugar content. They have a high minerality to them. Like it reminds me of like a high cacao content chocolate or like something very chalky and like almost like vanilla. And I think this is a really great experience.
That sits on your tongue. The flavor, like it sticks with you.
But again, I suck at descriptors. That sure somebody can come up with something elegant for me.
Some pine in there. Then you get some pine.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I would say
it's almost like peppermint too. Like peppermint.
It's definitely a minty quality to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a different mouthfeel between the two because the first one is not the same as this one. This one feels like it just kind of explodes in your mouth. It kind of takes over. with that. We'll call it piney, but it's not really. It's piney-ish, maybe.
It's like
But it's very
like,
distinctive.
It's got like almost a mint. It's like I don't know, like
I get a lot of mint.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of mint.
For me, it's a very distinctive flavor.
Yeah.
That I've never, and it's not smoky or anything like that.
Yeah, we try not to use the smokiness.
I consider the first one.
You like the straight up
Speaking of smokes, I always thought that all mezcals taste like smoke, and that's not the case.
No.
I was completely uneducated.
All right, you want to explain some of that?
Yeah, explain.
Sure. So mezcal has gotten this reputation as being tequila's smoky.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is completely erroneous, right? Like mezcal is actually the ancestor to tequila, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, it's not all smoke. Honestly, if you get a heavily smoked mezcal, again, the chisme between mezcaleros is that is like a low quality.
You're hiding.
Yes, hiding positive. Yeah. So it will be a part of the conglomeration of flavors in your mouth. But it shouldn't dominate.
So it's not part of the tradition to be a smoked mezcal.
Well, you'll get that because of the way the agave is, right? But it shouldn't dominate. You don't even taste it.
So
I have nothing, not in here. No.
So
Yeah.
a tequila can be a mezcal, right? But can a mezcal be a tequila?
Because has to be 51%.
Because
what is the breakdown?
No, they're totally separate. So originally, tequila wasn't. Traditionally, mezcal made anything produced. So, again, tequila was called vino mezcal de tequila. That was shortened down over the years. The mezcal de tequila. I mean, if you look at old
Totally different plant.
Well, it's a different species of agave. Yeah, mezcal producers can also use Tequila. However, right, you can make it from many others, but originally tequila was made from several different species.
I think premiumization, and for whatever reason, with the blue agave Weber became something that was synonymous with quality.
There's three reasons for this. Relative young age of maturity. Some agaves can take up to 30 years before they're ready to be harvested and produced, right? It's a high brix content. Not all agave is suitable for making alcohol from because they don't have a high enough sugar content. Tequila Azul has a high brix content, same with Folia, and it's ease of propagation. So there's a couple different ways of propagating agave. And one is asexual, or two are asexual, like this is clonal reproduction from rhizomes that form under the ground. We'll take these plants. If you've ever driven by and seen a cluster of agave that looks like somebody planted 30 plants in the same square footage, really those are a mother plant and all the what they call e-waves, all the children around them. And this is the easiest way of propagating agave. Because you can take that plant and just put it in the ground. Some agaves don't propagate that way. They only propagate sexually, seed. So they have to bloom, which, by the way, makes them unsuitable for production at that point. Get pollinated, go to seed, and then grow from the seed. This takes a lot. But it's also essential to it because it's the only way of propagating agave that they are not genetic clones of them.
So there's farm agave and wild agave. Truly. So what is? Is it really a wild agave that just you pick it, you leave, or do you actually plant it after you pick it? What's the difference?
Well, if you're harvesting it to produce mezcal, then you're not reaping, right? Because once it throws up its inflorescence, or what we call the quiote, it is no longer suitable. All that energy it's stored in it for its entire life cycle has gone into throwing up. There's one right there, the quiote. So it's very problematic right now in tequila specifically because it's made from one species of agave, and it's a monoculture. Every agave, blue Weber agave that's in existence I think they come from 6 different ancestors. So they're all genetically the same. They're all genetically weak. They're just waiting for some pestilence to like knock them out. Just like a Cavendish banana.
So what's the solve for that? Like, how do you?
Well, now that agave prices are falling,
Yes.
it may be possible.
Why are agave prices falling?
Because we have a glut of it.
Which
So
wasn't the case a few years ago.
right. So like it's been like historic highs in agave price,
Yeah.
right? But now it's actually falling because everybody was planning Tequila, whatever, and there's a glut. So this has been a problem with production since day one. Is that it's very slick.
So maybe they'll
Yeah.
stop diffusing because there's too much.
No, they'll still do fees. Like those companies will still do that bullshit. They don't care. They just want their profits.
Yeah.
That will never stop.
Okay.
But the other companies can choose from more mature agave with higher grapes content because it'll be cheaper to produce. Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that, but like I think we were talking about monoculture.
Yeah, well, I asked the question: is the difference between farm and wild agave?
Yeah.
And what the difference is? But when you pick a wild agave, you don't replant it.
No.
You just-
Well, not until recent, right? So there's very forward-thinking mezcaleros that are actually, like coming up with propagation programs for these
Yeah.
agaves that don't reproduce
Yeah.
via huevos. They only reproduce via seed. We're seeing them start plantations. So, like, let's take agave mamara, commonly known as tepeshnap. This agave will take 25 to 30 years before it's ready to be harvested, produced. Yeah. What's a mezcal? Yeah, or a destilado day, or more. And depending on the region you're in, it could be known as tepeshnate, it could be known as pizorro, pichonel as well. Like if you're in the Mixteca region between Pueblo.
Where the map?
I don't know if it's on the map. This is like the mountainous region, the Mixteca, like between Puebla and Oaxaca. So they call it different things. But the agave is super old age, for production.
Sure, it's very low, so at that point, sure, it's processed very carefully.
You would think.
So you said there's only 6 type species of agave that go into tequila right now.
There's only one. Tequila, however, is the only one that can be in a certified tequila. Whereas nobody knows how many are actually used in mezcal because of these colloquial names. It's opposed to binomial names, like the same, we can call it angustifolia, but wherever you're at in the country, even the village, it'll be different. What are we drinking? Hey, how about we
This is what we're drinking.
oh yeah. Maybe we should,
Yeah, let's talk about it. Still there. And have another tequila with it. I'll pour.
why don't we drink some Sotol? Because that'll play into like
Sotol.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to deviate from base spirits now. We're going to go to the beautiful world of Dazzler.
Why don't you show that bottle and talk about it?
This is a La Higuera. This is produced in Chihuahua. There's 3 states in the denomination of origin for producing alcohol. So the biggest one is Chihuahua. There's also Durango and Coahuila as well. It's a little controversial right now because people are producing it in the United States. I'm not going to go into that too much, but like there's actually producers here in Texas that are making it, and it's kind of a full shit show. But
To carry a knife with me.
yeah, when you use your teeth, like rip it off. Okay. So this is Dazzlerian Wheelerite or Wheelery, sort of pronounced 2 different ways. I think in Latin it's actually Wheelerite. And this is a true desert spirit. I love Sotol. I'm from Arizona. Sotol grows wild there. When I drink this, it tastes like the desert. Yeah. And there's several species of Dazzlerian that are used as well. Those Cedrosalmon, Texanum, Leophyllum, or Leophyllum, as they call it in Mexico. These are all different species, subspecies of the plant Unlike agave, it can be actually harvested many times. It's not monocarpic like agave, so it doesn't like bloom once in its life cycle.
It's more sessionable. It's almost like drinkable, like drinkable.
It's more gulletable. I like that. I like it in my gullet.
I'm saying that.
I think it's a more polarizing story, honestly. Like I've been observing people drinking it here in Los Alamos. Some people love it. I think, like, I taste peppercorn. I taste the dust of the desert. Like to me, it's a really
Where's it on the map?
and so 1, 2, 3, and it should be 4. Yeah, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know why they only colored Durango one color, but like it's it's Chihuahua, Tequila, and Durango. However, they also produce in Sonora. They just call it Palmilla because they're not part of it. And they produce it in Oaxaca as well, where it's called Pucheria or Pucheria.
So this will help you get into your journey because I'm fascinated with all the knowledge. How did you get all this knowledge about? Like you're like know everything about Mexico, agave.
I don't know about that, but like this whole project, this whole everything that goes behind this comes back to Mexico.
Okay.
It comes back to the people.
Okay.
I've never met more hospitable people. Like I love Mexico. So I started, I grew up as an antique. Yep, my family was antique dealing. I've had my own stores and stuff like that. But I used to deal in Mexican folk art and antiques. This was back in the 90s. I mean, I'm still a collector of that, but I used to have a store back then. And back then, you couldn't get any good. Like the first time I tried it, it tasted like.
So you went from antique on this?
Yeah.
That's a big leap.
Yeah. Big leap. And
so I fill you up while you're telling us in between?
Serious.
Okay. Arizona, you have so what's your first trip to Mexico?
I really remember that. I've been going since I was a child, but I used to go. Yeah. Well, Arizona is very connected to Sonora, and dealing in Mexican pizza poker, I used to buy this down in Nogales, Sonora, which is the border down there, and or the main border down there. So I used to drive down there and take. Go down to Tucson, you take 19 down to Nogales, and there's a little bar down in south of Tucson, and it's basically right across the street from one of Padre Quino's missions. Padre Quino came up, through Sonora into Arizona, and he founded several missions. One was Tumacacori. The other one is San Kvetko. And San Kvetko is restored. It's a beautiful mission, still an active church, but you can go tour it. But Tumacacori is a ruin because the Apaches kept attacking, so they finally gave up. Well, right across the street was this beautiful little bar called Caves Pool, and going back and forth, I would stop in there at 8, and he was alive at the time. And he would tell me stories about how during Prohibition, they would actually bring tequila up on the back of burros from Mexico. And he would also talk about mezcal that they would buy from producers in the region, like in the Santa Rita Mountains in Arizona, which
So tall in Arizona.
yeah, this ain't been mezcal. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they probably produce all because it's so vulgar there, but he was talking about buying it from producers in Arizona. Now, I didn't think much of it. It wasn't my focal point of interest. But like years later, I started researching agave spirits being produced in what's now the state of and I read this pamphlet. It was from like the St. Louis Botanical, I can't remember. It was like the Arboretum there in St. Louis, and it was this gal that traveled to Arizona, and she just happened to throw out the like statement. I might have it on my phone actually, and she was like, "Oh yeah, the Indians are fermenting and distilling mezcal." Just off the cuff comment, like not going into it. It was something that'd be like completely normal, right? And then, like, reading that, I was like, huh? You know, because like fermenting agave is, you know, very well known, and producing it for a food source is very well known. But to say that it was being fermented and distilled, like, I was like, whoa, that's super interesting. So I started researching it and came by like all this evidence of, you know, mezcal production in what is now Arizona, which shouldn't be surprising because there's agave there. And also, it was Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico retained southern 1846 to 1848.
The Gadsden Purchase. You know, that's when the United States bought basically the southern part of New Mexico and Arizona. Yeah. So Sonora is like a super. We should probably like accent this by drinking some Bacanora, but like Sonora is back there is a very beautiful state in northern Mexico. It's a state that informed the culture in Arizona and what I grew up with. And they have their own regional agave spirit that's been producing. I'm going to finish mine real quick and I'll rejoin you in a second. But
We got plenty more.
This is produced by.
We're gonna edit that out. Hey.
This is but this is produced in Sonora. They have a denomination of origin there now. They also have a denomination of origin there for the chiltepin pepper, the chili pepper, which is they call it the ancestors of all chili peppers. But like Bacanora is my jam, and this is made from Angustifolia as well, but it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I
Angustifolia.
haven't put it in there.
Yeah, I'm working on this.
It's got some fire to it. It's got a little spice to it. I don't know if they I don't know if they added to it, but it definitely has a completely different feel to it. It's not as mouthfeely. It's lighter. You know, on your palate. It's definitely vegetal. You know, on the nose.
Yeah, it's just chuggable. I'm gonna go with it, man. The rest of this podcast, I'm just gonna talk about how because the more you have of this, the more drinkable it is. It's amazing how that works. Is that true? Is that a true statement, by the way?
Well, it's very true because ethanol is an anesthetic.
Okay.
So what it's doing is anesthetizing your olfactory.
Okay.
Right. So like taste is what 75% or smell is 75% of taste.
Right.
And you know when you drink this many, like it should all taste alike, but it honestly does.
It's Jesse's fault. We got into the sauce before we.
Well, no, it's literally your fault. You said tequila. I'm sorry with that. But no, I mean, taste. You know, smell is a huge part of taste, and you drink enough ethanol, and it's going to anesthetize. But these are also profoundly different. That you're not going to have that problem. Yeah.
So, what was the next part like of your journey on the agave spirits? You're in Arizona at the time.
Yeah. So
discovered all this, and then where does Dallas come into play?
Well, my wife and I moved to Dallas in 2014. She got a job, and she's in television or was in television. She's the design director for television. And, she does graphic design. Yeah, so all you see on the graphics and stuff like that on TV too. There's a town with her family, but we moved to Austin originally, and we ended up when we couldn't stand it anymore. In 2014, we moved there in 2006. We sold our house there and moved to Dallas. Now,
Too populated.
I mean, it's just terrible down there. I don't know when the last time you've been through Austin is, but like
it's been a while.
Yeah, 2006 was great. By 2014, we're like, no, we're done with
everybody's moving to Texas.
I mean, yeah, it's on Musk, you gotta be with the Musk guy, Muskrat. Get ahead. But anyway, well, he's got his own tequila.
I don't know.
Tesla tequila.
I just wish he had.
Remember that?
Tesla tequila?
Everybody has their own tequila.
Terribles. Yeah. Goes in the whole celebrity bullshit thing. Hey, we moved up here to Dallas, and then we started with a group of friends. We all, when I tried my first artisanal mezcal, I should say that this was way beyond the 90s. Back then it was like terrible. It was like Gusano Roll or Oa de Oaxaca. It's like gasoline. But then I tried an artisanal one. Literally, the first thing I said was, "This is like drinking." Like the depth and complexity of the spirit brought me down to the different cultures I experienced.
It's so cool.
And we, gathered a group of friends together. We're actually called the Mezcal Cartel, and us would like host a party.
It's just everybody's place.
Yeah, for this convention, and everybody would bring a bottle of mezcal, and it's just a low cost way of trying a bunch of different stuff. And some of us were traveling down to Oaxaca, so we'd actually bring bottles back. So and then one of those early members, Joe, he had he was renting out it was a residential and commercial space in Oak Cliffs, which was a neighborhood we all lived in. And he was like, "Hey, you guys can have this space, for like a private room." So that's how the original Los Almas started. I don't know how much of this I should say, but we'll just call it a private tasting room. And we went down to Oaxaca, the bootleg 70 some liters back, and stocked the bar and went in the middle.
But you split up the cases. It wasn't just.
Yeah, no, went out one person. There was 5 of them. Yeah.
It got to be where if the light was on, you were there.
So that was the original Los Almas. So we did the only signage we had was a green light outside of the building, and when that was on, one of us was there. But later on, we got shut down. But
was this your first? You got shut down.
Yeah,
you got shut down, and this is where you did the opening.
That's the original escape.
You were shut down, and you're like, I don't want to stop this thing with my friends, or it probably grown past that. What was the decision for you to open up a place? Like, how did you go through that process?
It's very much more fun to run a legal bar. Kicking myself everything.
So you're riding a moped through the bar.
I mean, we have a good time. Like we make our own. So they say that was a blast.
I mean, that was pretty rad, man.
Did we get to do that later?
Yeah, so we're sitting in our spirits room here at Las Almas. This is
Why here?
The Fair Park?
Yeah.
Fair Expo Park? Because it was cheap. Yeah, so we have no background. Like, we all came in Tequila, we came from different, none of us food and beverage. We had no investment. We raised the money ourselves. Opened this bar. I have no idea. Well, I basically mortgaged my house to do it. And well, it was the first one. Like we owned our house pretty much. The reason we moved up here is Dallas. We bought a house pretty clear. But we mortgaged our house. Like our partner Taylor came up with this part of the money and we opened up here. And people were like, "You're insane for opening up in Expo Park because like nothing makes it. Like nothing." You look back 20 years and there's been no
consumers to come down here when this. So we have the state fair, which is 24 days or whatever. Then you have various exhibits and whatnot. But there's not a year-round draw to this particular neighborhood.
Exactly.
Which is probably the problem for.
I think it's I've never in all my travels what they have in that bar. We should film that. Take some pictures.
I will.
And show everybody. But I haven't seen anything like what they have. That back bar is pretty incredible. Yeah,
the rent was cheap, and we could do what we wanted. Like we actually bought an existing bar here, and like taped out the windows.
Kitchen kind of.
The kitchen was there. We've redone the whole thing since then. But like, the funny thing is like none of us wanted to do.
When were you founded? What was the date? Founding date?
In July 2017.
Oh wow!
For this space. Yeah.
Wow. But obviously, you start well before with the sheriff's
tasting group.
Is this space the name? Was that the name of your previous private space?
Yes, it was. And that actually came from mine. So when I referred to the fact that we all get together, it's like, we went to my house for one of the meetings, and Joe, actually the guy that owned the basically we opened up our private tasting room, and he was like, "This looks like the house of the broken soul." So I collected Mexican antiques and religious antiques. So like San Judas there, like he was in my house, and like a lot of this stuff in this room, my mummified monkey and stuff was in my house, and he was like, "This is the, this is the house of the broken souls." And I was like, "That's a great name for a bar."
Yeah.
So that's where Los Angeles started.
So we'll show this later, but the art piece there,
So that's actually an old photograph that was super faded of this vaquero, and our good friend painted the skeletal piece of the art above that.
so it was an actual photograph.
Yeah, it's actually, you can see it. Like, it's very ghostly. Like, you can barely see, the,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So we're in the when during COVID you had tastings in this part of the
Say Pedmo.
area,
Yeah.
and then this is sort of a private area that you can rent out.
Yeah, well, originally when we opened this,
This is it.
what's that?
See package here for me? I'm sorry.
We're doing a podcast.
So this
Hey,
is
that's a happy hour. He can join. Anybody can come in.
That-
Come back in. Tell the story.
Yeah, so he was one of the, when it was, great. Yeah.
They still come in though, because you were telling me like
He's
different
permanent.
people. When I was here last time, you're like, oh yeah, he's a regular. He's been with us forever. Like there's like he was here last time.
Yeah.
He's a nurse, right?
He is a nurse. He's a band nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember him.
Yeah, you do.
respect
I
nurses.
do remember talking. Yeah, it's good. I remember.
I could never be a nurse. That's like I respect it so much.
But they have a pretty good
Yeah,
clientele.
terrible fucking.
So tell about the room. So room by room, like
Yeah.
so this room here. You told me a lot about this room
Yeah.
last time I was here. There's some significance to this.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm gonna have you tell me.
Well, everything in here, like, so one of my passions is studying religion, and I love syncretic. So I studied Santeria, Rupumai, and like Udun, Candomblé, Matumba from. Oh yeah, we're gonna jump around.
We all done with agave?
No, is there any more agave?
I think we can work this one.
Which one you want to do? You're in charge.
No, we should probably do the Toronto. Okay, am I switching gears?
We'll go back. Well, after that, then we'll go to the rooms.
Heard. So this is Ruapan. This is a Charanda. It's a agricole rum product from the central part of Michoacan. The Puerto Pecha people there are like the indigenous people in Michoacan. The Pacheco family has been producing this for like a long time, and before that, they were actually mezcal.
Oh wow!
So if y'all want to pour yourself a little nip of that,
You have glasses over there,
it makes a goddamn good daiquiri too.
I can smell that.
Yeah.
It's nothing
So
I've
if
ever seen before.
I tried to bring in like Foursquare, you only has to be a Mexican rum though for you to carry.
Yeah, we have only Mexican spirits. Like if you look at our back bar, it's
Oh,
all
wow.
Mexican. That's like one thing that
Tell me about this. Tell about the new like the S. That is a really unique smell.
yeah, it's agricole rum. Like that braininess.
Olives, that's what it is. Yeah.
Almost smells like Heinz ketchup.
I've never that kind of scared to drink it.
So Miriam Pacheco is a great friend of ours. She
Oh,
her and her brother led the whole Renaissance at Toronto there in
So I feel like I should like walk out of here and go get a couple of daiquiris for us while you're talking.
Yeah. Yeah, go
I'm
have them fucking
gonna go make a daiquiri with this.
They shouldn't make it with we have any it goes good with guava.
So
Well,
guava. So
Yeah.
tell them to make a guava. Is there a particular name?
I think we might have a drink.
I'm gonna tell you.
Them.
Can I stick with tequila?
Yeah.
You don't like that?
I'll get you.
I just
I'll
don't
get you.
like
I'm gonna get you a plum. Yeah, a plum. Margarita. The frozen margarita is made with Avela and tequila.
Oh yeah.
What's your number one tequila?
Avela tequila. Just kidding.
Probably our ranch waters and our margaritas. Well, that's very typical. But like I will say that like both of them are badass drinks. Like we don't fuck around. Like we use fresh squeezed lime juice, Combier orange, and whatever spirit you're putting in there.
Yeah, I believe this is going to be our new state fair tradition.
So
We're going to come here and have a few drinks.
go right in the crazy mouth.
And then head over and walk around and be buzzed for like hours because it's expensive and it's mostly beer and wine.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's like $15 to $20. I mean, it's like definitely one of the. We came here after once, and I think we shared like a couple of appetizers, but we all had drinks, and we were all like, "What just happened?" I mean, it was amazing, and I've heard such great things about all of your food items here and whatnot.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's a simple and solid food program. None of us wanted to do food, but it's also a responsible thing to do. Yeah, for sure.
It's agriculture. It's not got it.
Yeah, it's cane.
It's cane.
Sugar cane.
So
Like full sugar cane.
it's
Full sugar cane. So it's not made from molasses. Made from sugar.
So I'm super excited. I went and left you all for a while, and I went and got some drinks made. And last time I was here, it's frozen margarita.
Tahini on top. It's it's your biggest.
good tequila and it's too much sugar. Like a typical frozen margarita. Like
Typical burger is good tequila and too much sugar. Like let's face it, right? Or like a sweet and sour. So we use Alvelo tequila, which is a higher proof, right?
Yeah, 44
Like
feet proof. Yeah.
Yeah, which will cut through any of the coldness and any of the citrus we put in this. And Combier, orange liqueur, and some love.
oh well, it's very
and
good.
it makes it. But I will say that, like, I'm super spoiled with frozen margaritas. Like, I don't drink margaritas anywhere else, frozen or otherwise. Yeah, it's fresh squeezed lime juice,
You're a snob.
Combier, and Alvelo. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna taste like it's not. If you look at the color, it's not neon green, but it shouldn't be. If it's neon green, run.
I do like. What's the topping? Tahini.
We got tahini on this, yeah, but we do salt tahini. My father was a huge margarita fan, so like when he passed away, like it was really important to me to have a great margarita. Like we knew it would be a bridge to people, like we knew that people would walk in here and see the back bar and not know anything.
You got written up to margaritas, right?
We run awards to them, yeah, for sure. But the back bar is like pretty intimidating if you don't know anything about agave spirits or Mexican spirits. So like we want to have some bridges that were very familiar to people. Part of that is our food.
Yeah.
Part of those are build program, which is not like super weird and shit, but like it's got some solid shit. Like we just wanted cocktails that honored the base spirit of them, And
So tell me about your awards that you've won.
I have 4 of them here, but I bet there's more.
Yeah. Well,
I'll read them off.
so
Okay, well, no. Best patios, 21. You had the best of Big D, best margarita in 2018.
Yeah.
You had
Oh, margarita.
best new bar in 2017.
Yeah.
We opened. And the James Beard Award for best bar. Two. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we didn't actually get the
Right, but you nominated.
Yeah, which is the most
significant. That's significant.
That's significant. Yeah. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Yeah,
How many people want to get that recognition?
right.
It's such a short amount of time.
Yeah,
Bar of the Year at Eater in 2018. So literally, you opened up with awards. Boom, 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 boom.
yeah, we did. But like the best one to me is the James Beard.
Yeah, because that's.
Like, even though we didn't win,
It's not
like that's
Awesome.
organization.
we didn't notice that. You're like, I won 5th place, and I didn't win.
It's like, we'll stick around and party with Shad for a little while.
I mean, all these awards, but honestly, The most significant thing to me is when I have Mexicans come in here and tell me how much they like. That is way for
The street team, there was a whole street team here when I was here that night.
what does that mean? Pretty
I don't know.
So I think suppliers hire these folks. They come in and just go give establishments love it. Go spend money there. They were here. We were sitting on the.
God damn it, you're killing me.
The street teams. I was gonna ask him. He's scared. Camera shy people.
The margarita was sort of your bridge. Well, it worked because it was the #1 cocktail in 2018. But when you and a handful of people, and the whole idea of mezcal and all these different agave spirits wasn't really a thing back then. It was probably starting, but it wasn't widespread. So when you open this place, was education at the forefront of your minds of,
Yes.
okay, we'll get them in with a margarita, but we're going to try like a total wine thing with this, and then we're going to educate them in all
It's
the
like you
You
get
your sweet stuff all trained on all the different.
Yeah, we do a huge staff training program here, and but we also don't want to sound like pretentious assholes. We want people to come in and enjoy it for what it is. You don't take the celebration. I'll tell you this: there's two hemispheres: celebratory and cerebral. Right? I think Mazonte does the best job at this in Guadalajara. So, if you go to Mazonte, you can have this beautiful cerebral tasting and talk about the spirits, but you go to their mezcaleria, like Pate de Suspiria, Tome Mezcal, and it's completely balls to the wall fun. And you don't take the fun out of it.
Right. Don't do
You
that.
take the fun out of it. You take the nature of the spirit away from it. I think it does a disservice to it.
I don't know my life, and I've had for 38 years of my beverage career. I was the Cuervo Salesman of the Year in 1980. 1988. You probably weren't even selling spirits in 1988. Yeah. I've been in this business since 1988.
Yeah.
So that's when you walk a store, that's all you see was Cuervo, and the whole bit. Can a big producer actually make good tequila?
I've never seen it happen.
So as a company kind of grows.
And I've never seen a good.
No, I'm not challenging you. I'm just asking.
No. I appreciate that question. And I'll say the same thing with celebrity tequila. So that's a big factor.
Is there
if somebody gave a shit, if there was a celebrity that gave a shit about tequila and was I want to get into it, maybe they can do. I want to go to Chava and 1133 and make a badass celebrity tequila. That's great.
The higher the bricks, the better the quality.
The higher the bricks, the more fermentable sugar you have.
So why does that?
I feel like wine. It's the flavor, the taste.
Because the lower the bricks you have, the more shitty production they have to bring in.
Yeah, that tequila. I mean, show the bottle, Jesse. That tequila, there is nothing. I mean, that is Coscoline juice right there. I mean, that's not even 23.
Was it the daiquiri?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's delicious.
Oh, that's your keep it. Then. Enjoy it.
But that's the thing that runs up.
It's like a number drink.
I
feel like I'm drinking
olive. It's like the illusion of olive, and it's not when you actually taste it.
It's probably healthy for you because olive juice is good for you.
That's beautiful to me.
And Jesse, this is how a happy hour is supposed to go. As we start to consume the libations, the real conversation comes, right?
Just a couple of questions.
Yeah.
And then I'll put the cards away. Because for me, when you're coming to Fair Park, which is a difficult place to open a place. Yes, it's cheap, but it's still difficult. The general public, had the margarita, which you focused on, which paid off, and obviously has brought people in. It's the educational piece to this of how you're bringing people in, because to me, there's several different pieces of it on how to bring people in. So for me, I've been wanting to do Agave Flight for so long. I've been wanting to try all these different agave spirits and understanding their different.
Well, that's a good point. So I'll say that our flight program is the heart of the program here.
Okay.
So, like, most places, the cocktail program will be the heart of it.
Right.
The heart of our program is the flight program.
Because you want people to understand the variant of the agave spirits, and kind of like you said, when people from Mexico come in here and they see and they taste and they just love it because it's so authentic. I mean, that's what you're trying to educate people, right? The authenticity.
Yeah. Like, David Crockett loved mezcal. No, he was totally into it. Him and, compatriots. Yeah. Like, they were totally down for mezcal. Which, if you want me to get into some real stories, like something that really makes sense, like Buffalo Bill, when he would bring his Wild West show around the United States at that time, he would set up Mexican cantina. And apparently he introduced mezcal.
How do you have so much knowledge? I mean, did you have an affinity for Mexico? I mean, it's incredible.
I would love to set up a tour. We could set up a whole, I would do 10 people.
And go to Mexico. Your knowledge, and I'm telling you this for real.
Yeah.
When you were talking about, the different types of agave, and that goes in the different types of spirits that are made in Mexico, I've been doing this for 38 years. And I work for all the big companies. I'm working for a small company now, right? I'm working for all my brands, it's small, a little bit, but I've worked for the big producers and stuff. And what you're saying is true. But how did you get all this knowledge? Where is this? Is a passion for Mexico? It's you did this. You dealt in antiques. You obviously had this place where you brought your friends together and you celebrated and tasted these agaves, and it developed into this place that you've developed in this room. You're really proud of this room. How did you get all this knowledge?
I have no idea. I do what I do. I get a drink.
So what's next? I guess what's next for you? What's where's your journey? So this is a journey that I've enjoyed.
Yeah. So I'm leaving the business.
What?
I love hospitality, but I don't love the bar business. So I'm going. My wife and I are moving to Arizona.
So what's next?
We bought an old whorehouse there.
What?
Literally historic whorehouse.
Oh, okay. Okay, you bought a whorehouse.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
what are you gonna do with it?
Whorehouse, but
what are you gonna do with it?
The original short-term rental. So we're gonna do a hotel.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we come out and stay with you and
absolutely.
Bed and breakfast kind of situation, or just strictly hotel?
Like a bed and breakfast. Okay. Bed and breakfast. I don't want to get involved in cooking people food, but we'll be there doing our thing. We're hospitable people.
Sometimes
design and art.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure she's gonna make a place with it.
Are you gonna have spirit? Are you gonna serve cocktails there and stuff?
Well, I'm thinking. I don't want to leave the industry, so I want to keep educational things open. So. I'm figuring that out right now.
Well, if there's anything that we can do to help you, let us know.
Okay, in closing.
That's going to go with the wolf.
Yes.
Maybe we just.
Let's go with the wolf. We'll stop.
You can
see the wolf. We'll take pictures.
This week's episode was produced by Fedora J Productions.